What up, y'all? Shoebooty Sports coming at you Tuesday night, a little later than usual, but all the same to you all. I'm your host, Graham Powell, co-host Bradley Brown. Say what's up, Brad.
What's up, Brad?
There you go, good one. All right, Final Four, March Madness, both men's and women's. Lots of stuff to cover coming at you. Lots of college basketball. Fun time of year, but a quick shout out to our sponsor. Shoebooty Sports is presented by Rhino Races. Not rocking the shirt today, but check out rhinoraces.com to check that out along with the decals and wristbands and more. Anyways, how it works or rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is a virtual race series that offers 5 different races: a 5K, 10K, half marathon, a marathon, and the Rhino Ultra. Sign up for one or all 5 of their races at rhinoraces.com. Run your race at your convenience. Track it with your fitness app. Screenshot your results as proof of completion. Submit those results to rhinoraces.com under the submit results section. Once your results are verified by Rhino Races staff, your award will be shipped to you by mail. Free shipping on all orders. Again, rhinoraces.com. Rhino Races is the premier virtual running series. Also, you can find us, Shoebooty Sports, on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're also on the Wisdom app, and follow us on Twitter at Shoebooty Sports. So, in the men's bracket, Final Four. That's pretty much what we had, right?
It's exactly what I had in my bracket when I filled it out for the round of 64.
Yeah. Well, true story on my favorite podcast or sports podcast, at least. Shout out Dan Patrick show. One of the Danettes' wives correctly picked the Final Four, and they brought her on. She was on there for a little over 4 minutes. True story. She correctly picked all 4 teams, and her reasoning was they currently live in Connecticut. She's picked UConn to win it. They currently live in Connecticut. She lived in San Diego for a while, and she's been to. I think she goes to Florida often. So in Miami, and she visits Miami often, and since she's just in Florida often, that's how FAU got in there. So the model that we should follow, basically. She just laid out the blueprint. That's the likelihood. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that makes up a successful bracket sometimes. That was the second, that's only the second bracket she ever filled out, by the way. I think they said 1 in
Wow.
600,000 have correctly predicted the Final Four. Even looking at the winners on like ESPN.com or like the top 2 or 3, no one I think maybe third place has all 4 correct, and the top 2 I know only have 3 of the 4 correct. It's wild. It's an anomaly basically.
Yeah,
That's what
the
makes.
last points I scored in my bracket were in the Sweet 16. And I think I picked one.
Yeah, I had Texas, going to the Final Four, and they got close. That's the closest I got. But I wasn't surprised Miami came out of that region. Like I thought I picked Houston to beat Miami, but I thought I wouldn't be surprised if Miami beat these guys.
They went for a run for it last season, didn't they?
No, I don't remember. But ever since they got that NIL money, from that billionaire booster, they've really stepped their game. I learned this. Miami's coach, he was the coach that led George Mason to that Final Four run in 2006, I believe it was.
Really?
Same coach. Did not know that till I was watching that game. But yes, FAU will take on San Diego State. FAU a 9 seed against San Diego State a 5 seed. Number 4 UConn, 4 seed UConn taking on Miami, 5 seed, Saturday night. So I know what I'll be doing Saturday night.
It is a thing of beauty seeing those high seeds in the Final Four.
Yeah, well,
Your top
last
seed is a
year,
4 seed. It's great.
yeah, last year we had blue bloods in it. North Carolina and Kansas playing for it all, about as blue blood as you can get, and that was a great game. I think maybe my favorite in recent memory championship game. I don't think it's definitely when Villanova beat North Carolina in whatever year it was, 15
Yeah,
maybe,
that was an insane game.
on that last on that, like, North Carolina takes the lead, Villanova runs down, then three at the buzzer to win it. And seeing Jay Wright's reaction, like just watching him throughout that sequence at the very end as the shot goes up, before it goes up, Jay Wright just calmly just goes bang, like to himself, just says bang. And then boom goes in. And he just, and everybody's flipping out but him. Right. Like that's a really cool video to watch still. So who do we got? Who are we picking Saturday night? We're going to touch up on the women's side after this, but who do we have? You go first. I'll just say
Uh,
this: I got UConn winning it all.
yeah, the same here. They haven't. Their closest game's been what, 15 points. It's hard not to pick them.
I think so, and that was
And
in like the round of 32.
they did a good job of making Razorback fans feel better by beating Gonzaga by an even larger margin than what they did the Hogs.
28 points they beat Gonzaga by.
Yep. And they led them by what, 30, 31. They only led the Hogs by 29. I mean, that's quite a bit different in my book.
See, and here's the thing: like looking at it, I thought you'd think like Arkansas just didn't show up. I didn't think Arkansas played that bad. Like I thought,
They just couldn't stop them, dude.
yeah,
They
they
were doing
couldn't
whatever they
stop them.
wanted.
They couldn't stop them. They didn't have their best offensive night either, but they didn't play. I mean, they didn't play well. They didn't play.
No.
I'm not saying they played well, but they didn't play that bad to the point you'd think they'd be getting beat 25 points or whatever it
Yep.
was.
Of course, then again, teams aren't supposed to shoot 70% dang near from the field.
Yeah, they looked like UConn looked like the one seed. I just kept thinking the whole time, this is a 4 seed. Now I know they were number one at one point in the year, back in November, I think, and then just Big East play hit them pretty hard. But I just the whole time I was thinking this is the one seed. Like Kansas, those two should have been flipped. I mean, this right here is the one seed. But yeah, UConn has been very impressive. They've been the best team in the tournament. So we got UConn beating Miami. Miami's been really good too, but I don't see I don't see a way they stop Sunoco or however you say his name. He is, or the perimeter guy. They're just team wise. They're on a different level. Their ball movement on offense is so crisp and so fast and so smart. They're doing everything right. But UConn, I thought they would give Arkansas problems. That's why I said last week on this show, I was like, I got UConn because we have trouble with bigs, Arkansas that is, and I knew UConn had one that was very good, and
Very big.
he was that and then some. He was that and then some against Arkansas, but like you said, it didn't make us look as bad. Didn't make us look as bad by UConn just curb stomping Gonzaga by 28 points.
No.
All right, so FAU San Diego State. That's the one that's a little more tricky for me. FAU's a good team. What they want they How many have they lost this year?
Oh,
Th-
like
Three
two or
games,
three? Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, man. I don't know, man. I've got to probably stick with San Diego State. I mean, they took out Bama and then they then they beat Creighton. I didn't even think they were going to beat Creighton. But I don't know. FAU took out Tennessee and then K State.
I figured they could beat Creighton because Arkansas barely lost to Creighton and barely beat San Diego State in the Maui Invitational. Jay Billis went on the Dan Patrick show and said a lot of Dan Patrick plugs today. It was and said, yeah, Arizona beat San Diego State earlier in the year, and then Arizona beat them again in Maui. I was like, no, Arkansas beat them in Maui, but that's okay. People get the people get the AR.
And the AZ, yeah.
Well, it's not even that. Like anytime I tell somebody over the phone, like they're reading my address to me and they see the initial, and they're like, "So that's Cabot, Arizona?" I'm like, "No, it's Cabot, Arkansas. Arizona's AZ." They're like,
Every
"Oh,
now and then
okay."
you'll get the Alaska. I was with the AK. I guess you haven't got that one, huh?
You get Alaska from
I've
an
gotten it
AR.
before.
There's
No,
no
I
R
mean,
in Alaska.
I know, but I mean, there's stupid people in this world.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, hang on a minute. We're talking about okay, and
It's
there's
usually
not
whenever they're looking at it online, they're like, "Oh, I see here that you live in Alaska," and I'm like, "No, that's no."
there's not a K in Arizona either. But okay, all right. I mean, I've seen weirder stuff on TikTok all the time as far as what people don't know. So I'm not surprised. Not I'm not surprised at all.
Of course, those stupid people are none of our listeners. FYI.
Correct. Oh, okay. Well, some of you are, but it's okay. Some of you are, but it's okay. All right. So you got San Diego State.
Yeah.
So you're rolling with
Yep. That's who I'm rolling with.
ah. It's only a 40-minute show, so I got to pick. You know what? I'm gonna go FAU just because. Like my brain's telling me San Diego State, but just to I'm gonna go FAU. I'm gonna go on the record. Florida Atlantic. One of these two teams is gonna be in the national championship game. Like you could say UConn's playing for the national championship, and that sounds normal, right?
Yeah.
Florida Atlantic or San Diego State is going to play for a national championship next Monday. Wow, that is
Pretty wild.
wild. That is
Pretty wild.
that is so cool though. Like it's pretty neat. Love March Madness. Okay, let's grade the Hog season real quick since it's come to a close. They were still in the tournament when we got together last week after just a monumental, amazing win that I'll never forget over Kansas.
Yep.
So they get to the round of 16. I had said it's a win to me. It just getting to the round of 32. Like you get to the round of 32 with this team and it's lack of shooting. That's a win for me. And compete against Kansas, it's good enough for me. They get to the
Yep.
round of 16, get blown out by UConn, but UConn's probably going to win the national championship. And they've been so dominant, and we're going to forget about that next. History will show that team on that Sweet 16 banner in the practice facility, there in Fayetteville. And
Yeah.
we're just going to remember, hey, that was a pretty good team. They were at times. They were very inconsistent, as Devo Davis said. Post game against Kansas, this team was struggling, and just glad we got it together, being them at the right time. How would you grade the season for the Hogs?
Man, with the injuries and everything else.
Be fair though. Don't be
Oh, I'm not like a B plus.
B plus. It's a good score, man. With the expectations and everything, because this was supposed to be Muss's best incoming class,
Yeah.
at least on paper.
Yeah, if you include the hype, it goes down for sure. But
Which I think you should. I mean, I just think you should take everything in consideration.
well, if we didn't have the injuries and we finished this way, oh yeah, it'd be way worse. But I'm including the injuries in there. So
Yeah, but you got Nick Smith back, and Smith looked good the bit I saw him against UConn. I admittedly changed the channel at halftime. I could after in the second half. I couldn't watch anymore.
I
I
had
couldn't
the
watch anymore.
I had the split screen going and had the volume and everything, the the audio feed from the other game going on because
Yeah,
it was a pretty close one.
it was too painful. Yeah, that was Kansas State and I can't remember. Michigan State, Kansas State, and Michigan State. That's what it was. Yeah,
Yep.
that was a heck of a game. But I admittedly couldn't watch the second half. It was too painful for me, just being a Hog fan. And like it didn't ruin my night or anything. It wasn't gonna I don't give any anything that I don't have control over myself. I'm not gonna get too bent out of shape over it. But I'm not
I
gonna
was
say
bummed out a little bit.
yeah. But I'm not gonna say like it. I it definitely sucked. I'll just put it that way. It definitely sucked sitting there having to watch it. So I was like, yeah, I gotta change it to something else. I don't even remember what I flipped it to, like the Food Network or something random. But
Sounds about right.
I'm gonna say B minus. I feel like a C plus or is too harsh because they got to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
This team beat number one seed Kansas and got to the round of 16. That's the highlight. And you got to 20 wins again. You look good early. You saw the potential early, and that's with Nick Smith really not playing. You know, large chunk of the year. Brazil getting hurt, Trevin Brazil getting hurt. Yeah, I getting it together kind of at the. I mean, you'd say they got it together at the right time. Didn't they lose like 4 of their last 5 to end the season, the
Yep.
regular season? Yeah, but you won when it mattered. Like they looked good. They were in control the entire game against Illinois, and Devo kept. They played great. Like Devo and Ricky Council were great in the second half against Kansas. Like that,
Phenomenal.
yeah, that could jump. There you go. That could jump. To me, that jumps them like a whole other letter. You know.
Yeah.
So I think a B minus is a fair score considering they didn't really I, quite live up to expectations. You know, like like I don't know how many are leaving. Probably a
I was,
lot.
I was about to ask what's the one what's the one guy we have a shot at keeping who's expected to leave?
Oh, I couldn't tell you that. I don't know. I'm sure Anthony Black is gone. I'm
Oh
sure
yeah,
he's.
AB's gone. Yeah, for sure. Pe-
I
yeah,
think.
I don't doubt that.
I think Trevin Brazil is gone.
You think Brazil's gone?
I think he's gone. I could just based on the way he did like his interviews during the tournament. They had asked him about that after because gosh, reporters today are so soft with their questions. Um, all the good reporters are gone just because there's no money in it.
Yep.
So, and I'm not calling every reporter out there trash now or anything like that, but he was just getting softballs, you know, like local media questions, and they were just kind of accepting the answer that he gave the right answer. He gave the answer you're supposed to give, but he didn't get pressed or anything on it. He just gave the when asked about his future, he just did the I'm not really thinking about that right now. I'm thinking about this team and what I can do. You know, it was a very immediate coached question or answer to the question. But I just based on that, I think he's gone. I think he's still a projected first round pick, early second. I mean, JD Note went left early to go play in Europe or wherever he is now. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I think a lot of these guys are gone. Um, I think Walsh will be back.
I'm hoping Walsh will be back.
I know he was the goal was to leave after this year. That was the preseason goal. But
Yep.
I don't I'm not drafting him in
I
the
think he can benefit a lot from staying an extra year, especially getting more confident in his shot, which I don't know why he's not confident in his shot. Apparently he's really good, but I've never seen a person pass up so many open threes.
he's not really good. Otherwise he wouldn't pass up so many open threes. He's not a really good shooter. There's no really good shooter on that Razorback team. The only player that can shoot is Nick Smith, and he's not great. He's not a great shooter,
Yeah.
but he's a good shooter. He's great for Arkansas, but that team lacked shooting. Like that was the
Big
poorest
time.
shooting team Muss has had. Maybe the most athletic, but definitely the worst shooting team he's had. And by a lot, by a long shot. But I think AB's gone and he'll be probably a mid late first rounder. I don't know.
Last time I seen it, they were projecting him as maybe a lottery pick, but
Yeah, I don't know about that. I could see him going about the 15 to 17 range. There's
yeah,
a lot of potential there. He's a really good player. I'm glad he was on I'm glad he was on the Razorbacks, our team. I was hesitant to say our team, but that's the team we're rooting for. So
yeah.
I think he's gone. Nick Smith, I guess he's gone, right? I guess he's
Yeah,
gonna
he's
go.
yeah,
But would you draft him in the first or second round?
no.
I wouldn't either. And I don't think that's harsh. We didn't see enough of him. He really only lived up to the hype one time, and that was against a not very good Georgia
Yeah,
team.
one of the worst teams in the SEC. Yeah.
He was great. I mean, he was great in that game. Dropping what 26, I think it was. I think he put up 26 points. Was red hot from beyond the arc. Like this, I was like, this is what this team is missing. Like when I saw that, I was like, this is what this team is missing. But he didn't sustain that, and I know that's hard to sustain. But he didn't look like a lottery pick in the tournament. He was non-existent,
No.
at least in the first two games of the tournament. He hit some good shots against UConn, but we forget about that because then UConn would just go score at the other end and just
Hmm.
maintain their double digit lead or whatever it was. But I wouldn't draft him, and I wouldn't draft him not in the first or second round, and that's all there is in the NBA draft. And like he's not big, he's not a very big guy. You wonder how he's going to hold up at the next level, especially considering he wasn't able to hold up as a freshman in college. When you should really be at your healthiest, right? At missing essentially the whole year for like knee issues. What's that going to be like at the next level?
Yeah, when
You
you're
know,
playing what, triple the amount of games.
yeah. And like Brandon Roy's career got cut very short, just because he had knee problems. Do you remember Brandon Roy, Trailblazers, mid 2000s? Exactly. Excellent player. Very, very good player. Just couldn't stay in the league very long. Just bad knees. And if you draft Nick Smith, you could be dealing with something similar. Now, I just don't. I mean, he is there potential. Yeah, sure, but he wasn't anything wasn't anything consistently great. Am I glad he was a Razorback? Of course I am. Like you want to constantly bring those guys in, like those big time recruits in, even if they don't always work out because they're not all going to work out. You want to constantly be bringing those guys in, but just didn't. And it's not like he didn't try. It's not like he didn't try hard or anything. Nobody's saying that. I just know how some of this is going to be interpreted.
Yeah,
Just valid criticism, but just
just one what we expected.
yeah, just for being the number 3 recruit in the country, the highest recruited player since Corliss Williamson. Definitely wasn't Corliss Williamson.
Nope.
So, I mean, good luck to him. I hope he does well. I hope he does great. Just if it's me and I'm a GM, I'm not drafting him personally. All right, so we already touched up on what Muss needs to do to kind of get this team on the right track moving forward, or what to improve on. Shooting, rebounding.
Yep.
UConn, if anything, UConn showed you what you need. You need some bigs that
Need
can
some bigs,
rebound,
man.
get offensive boards, can bang inside, and you need shooters because you just didn't have any of them. Nick Smith could shoot, but he's like I said, he's not a great shooter. He's a good shooter, but he's not a great shooter. You know who is a great shooter though, and I think is the best. And I was hesitant to say this at first. I was like, I don't know about this, but after seeing her, you know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
Caitlin Clark. I mean, getting the first 30-point triple double. Yeah, not done. Getting the first 30-point triple double, and I in the men's or women's tournament. And so she decided to go ahead and get the first 40-point triple double while she was at it. I
Yep.
watched that entire game, the win against Louisville to send Iowa to the Final Four. That's the first time I've actually like sat and watched Caitlin Clark play an entire game. That was the first time. And like you know how you go into something and you want to root for like you want to root for the story, right? Like I want her to be as good as I'm hearing.
Yep.
But then there's that cynic in me that just says, she's not going to be. I feel like I'm going to be disappointed. Like it's not going to quite live up to the hype. And that's what I'm thinking. And you can say that about a lot of players and teams, etc. That
Yep.
you hear so many good things about, like like Malik Monk coming out of Arkansas. Perfect example. I hear based on coaches. This is when I was a reporter, like coaches that I respected, friends of mine that lived in Northwest Arkansas, saw him play in Bentonville. They were like, this guy's the best thing to ever come out of Arkansas. One coach said he was before the state championship game, said he's further along than Joe Johnson was at that age. Joe Johnson, of course,
That's a
being
bold statement. Yeah,
yeah, it's a huge statement. But this is the kind of stuff I was hearing on repeat, and I wanted to believe it. Like I have nothing against Malik Monk. I don't care that he went to Kentucky. Go wherever you want to go.
yeah.
But like I wanted to believe it, and then I saw him play and just completely. I don't want to say no show, but crap the bed in the state championship game. Went 0 for 10 from 3-point range. Had just wasn't smart with the ball. Had one play where he took Cabot's most athletic defender player, like just took him to the hole at will and scored. And my editor leans over to me and goes, "Why doesn't he just do that every play?" And I'm thinking the exact same thing. I'm thinking, I don't know. And like he could score at will, but just settled for 3-point bricks that wouldn't go in. And of course, they lose that game. And we see him at the NBA level. Another friend of mine said he was just so much more, just just such a greater recruit than Bobby Portis was coming out of high school. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa! Like I pumped the brakes on him. Like, dude, Bobby Portis was a 4-time state champion. Like, calm down. The other guy went 0-3 in championship games. But let's chill out a little bit on that. And not to mention, Bobby Portis was pretty damn good at Arkansas too. And
Yes, he was.
he's been pretty good at the next level. An NBA champion, very popular in Milwaukee. But Malik Monk is a guy that he's a good player and you see it in flashes, but he's just not as good as everybody thinks he is. Like that's what I think of the guy. Water break. But okay, but Caitlin Clark, my long-winded way of saying, lived up to the hype. Now I did hear like somebody make a comment like okay. I've heard she's the most exciting player in college basketball. Completely agree with that. Completely agree with that. The only thing I didn't agree with, you know, what I heard was she's a great passer. And I was like, well, I mean, she makes some good passes, but she makes some really dumb passes too. Which she would even say that. Like I saw her make one pass that was an attempt. I mean, she's like Brett Favre when it comes to passing. Like even if it's not really there, she'll try to fit it in there.
Going for it. Yeah.
Now she'll make some really great passes. There are times where her passes are great passes. It's like, whoa, and she makes really good decisions with the ball. But there are times she doesn't. And that's my one like criticism. Like when I saw her make one, it was just a full court pass that got intercepted and like turned over and led to a bucket at the other end for Louisville. You could see her after the timeout coming off the court and just said I think she said stupid, like talking about herself. She's like, that was stupid. Like you could read her lips. So she knows and she'll improve on that. But a great player and is within range is essentially when she just gets out of the car in the parking lot. In all seriousness though, when she reaches the logo, she's in range. She's got a handle. She is the female and I want to be fair. I don't want to be, and I'm not saying this to be over dramatic or put too much hype on her, whatever. She's the female Steph Curry. Like that's her game. She's Steph. She's got a handle. She's a point. She's the best shooter in the game, at least at the college level. Yeah, she she's going to be fun to watch. She'll be back next year and then maybe even the year after that. I think she said because she's got that 5th year option. But okay, so it's going to be David and Goliath, or I don't want to say Caitlin Clark versus South Carolina because Iowa has some good players. That was one thing I noticed in that game. Watching the Louisville Iowa game, I literally said, I texted my dad saying, either one of these teams, you just get in a game of horse with the Arkansas men's team. I don't know if the Arkansas men could put a letter on Louisville or Iowa. I mean that's how good of shooters these girls are. The women's game has gotten really good. I mean, just the way they play and offensively, just the ball movement, the decision making, the shots they can shoot. I was very impressed watching those two teams play Sunday night. And Louisville's a good team. Haley Van Lith, the one you were talking about earlier. I mean, she's
Yeah.
fiery, she's feisty out there, but she's a hell of a player. But it's been a fun tournament to watch. The little bit I've gotten to watch, and that's without Paige Beckers from UConn. So I mean that's saying something. She hasn't played all year, coming back from that or recovering from that torn ACL. That says something about the game. And all right, so what chances do you give? It's because Iowa and South Carolina play in the women's Final Four Friday night. That's the second game, the 8 p.m. game. They did that on purpose because they know that's going to get a lot of views.
Dude, they're a 12-point underdog.
Yeah, and I believe it. I I was a good team. South Carolina is an all time great team. I give Iowa with Clark 15%,
20% chance.
15. You could say
15.
22% with her number, but no, I don't even think it's that. I think they got a 15% chance of winning that. South Carolina's that good.
Yeah, apparently. I haven't got to watch them play that much this year, but hell, every time I tune in, they're just crushing. Like it's might as well just keep flipping the channel because this one's
Yeah.
not even close.
Well, they're the new UConn. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
They're the new UConn. And that's why I didn't pay any attention to the women's game. Had nothing to do with there not being dunks or anything like that. The games just weren't competitive. I don't want to tune in to see a 30 and 40 point blowout. I don't want to see first round games where the score is 80-16. There were the no
That really happened.
parity,
Yeah.
yeah, the no parity, not good for the game crowd had had an argument. They made good points. I don't want to watch that. I want to see some competition. I want to see a good game.
Yep.
Iowa Louisville was very fun to watch from start to finish. I enjoyed every bit of that game. And I hope to see something similar Friday when they take on South Carolina. Because Caitlin Clark is not the only player on that team. Iowa has some really good players. I mean, they have some really good shooters. They got a good big. They got a good post player. Now, just top to bottom, they don't stack up to South Carolina. Clark is better than all of them. As far as just overall talent for what she does. As far as just being a skilled point guard. But South Carolina's bigs would eat them alive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just destroy the board, score at will inside. And Iowa's got a good big. Like I said, they got a good post player. But we'll just make the picks. South Carolina, I say South Carolina by 25.
Man, I don't know. I don't know about 25. I'll go with something along the lines of the spread. I say they'll beat the spread, but they'll probably be like 15, 16 points.
Yeah, I got South Carolina by 25. I think Clark will put up. I think they're going to make it a point to just let's not let this girl beat us. I think this could be her. She averages 26 a game. This was her
Dang.
stat line last game. I've got it. Yeah, 41 points, 10 boards, 12 assists, 3 steals. I think she gets to. I'll say she gets 20. We'll say 20 points. They're just now. It's not like other teams don't double her. Of course they do, but those teams aren't South Carolina. you know,
True.
those teams aren't South Carolina, so that's going to make a big difference. Okay, so
So what
yeah,
about the other
South
game?
Carolina.
LSU, Virginia Tech.
Uh, you know what? I'll go LSU. I'll go LSU.
Virginia Tech's the 1 seed, but yeah, LSU, they've been pretty good. But yeah, we all remember what happened whenever them and South Carolina faced off earlier this season. It wasn't close.
No, it wasn't.
It had the hype, but man, it just yeah. South Carolina's good.
Yeah, so I assume we both got South Carolina winning it all.
Yep. And I'll take LSU over Virginia Tech.
All right, there you go. Okay, we'll end on this. Lamar Jackson's requested to be traded as of
Was it
March 2nd, I believe.
what was that like 20 minutes before the press conference, or like not even 20? It was like 5 minutes before their major press conference. He requested that.
Yeah, but it's crazy how that got out, right? All right, but who's kind of the team or teams you would like to see him go to? The one that sticks out to me, I don't think it'll happen, but like just dream scenario, 49ers. Imagine what
Oh, that'd be
Imagine what Shanahan could do with that. I don't know if they have the trade value or whatever to be able to pull that off, but man,
probably not.
that would be cool to watch.
I really don't know. Yeah, 49ers would be very intriguing. I seen something today like possibly the Patriots.
Yeah, I saw some I saw something like that too. I don't know if
And I was like,
Belichick's
but
going to
that
pull the
doesn't
trigger on that.
that doesn't really make sense in my head. Of course, a lot of stuff doesn't, but I just don't have a good gut feeling about that one. 49ers would be ridiculous.
Yeah, Lamar and Belichick working together. I don't know about that. Lamar and Shanahan would be amazing. That's just a dream scenario. Like I said, don't know if that'll happen, but I guess we're going to see what happens as everything pans out, especially with Rodgers and crew and all that. But yeah, that'll be more info for for the weeks to come. But until then, let's enjoy college basketball, and we'll have more to talk about on that next week. But until then, we're gonna get out of here, y'all. Deuces.
Peace.